All right, it is time for the Don and Eli Take on the World podcast. My name is Elias Melas, but you can call me Eli for short. And once again, who's this lovely lady sitting here to my right?
Hello, I'm Don Ledgerwood.
That's right, you're Don Ledgerwood. Now, you're sitting on my right, but on the camera, you're on the left. That's why I said my right, in case anyone questions me on that. Right, baby?
No, you're right from left.
Yeah, I struggle with that at times, baby, but it's okay. It is okay. Welcome to episode number 4 of our podcast. Today, we have a fantastic episode with a fantastic topic to discuss. This is going to be, it is a very highly controversial topic. We're going to be talking about the MGTOW, men going their way. Men going their own way. MGTOW, men going their own way. Ooh, I'm losing it here. Movement in 2025. And I've been a part of this movement, or at least I was a part of this movement, going all the way back to 2017, and it's going to be quite interesting, right, baby?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think a lot's changed with you since that time. And so I'm interested to hear what you went through and all that stuff and how you got away from that group. So I think it's an interesting story. It's an interesting topic. And I think it's going to enlighten a lot of people today. So hopefully y'all enjoy the show.
Yeah, I will tell you this. I am no longer a part of that group. I have not been a part of that group for the longest time. I'm going to explain why I initially was, why I got away, and obviously where I'm at today, because I have a girlfriend here of 3.5 plus years, right?
Yes, you do.
And while we're in a very happy relationship, and baby, you wanted to make sure I mentioned this. I was going to do it anyway, but thank you for, sharing this with me before we started recording. Our relationship is not perfect. No relationship is perfect, but Dawn and I have something special, and it's worth to continue to keep fighting for, not fighting physically, but, giving it all we've got, right, baby?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In it for the long haul. In every relationship, that you are going to fight for success. Like you said, it's not physical fighting. You're just like in any situation. You're fighting to get what you want in life.
Right. It's not about you got to fight
for your
right to party. Okay. No more partying for me. I'm done. I'm 51 years old. My girlfriend Dawn is about to celebrate her 50th birthday.
What?
Yeah.
But I'm still a party girl.
Yes. It's about a month away. On May 16th. You were born May 16th, 1975. You're going to hit the big 50.
Big 50. And I'm excited.
Yeah.
I've never been a woman embarrassed by my age. I will never be that one that's, I'm 29 again. So I embrace it and I look forward to the 50s.
Would you say, baby, that you've aged gracefully?
Absolutely. I would say that God has given me quite some blessings there.
Yes, he certainly has. The good Lord, Jesus Christ, and God himself have blessed you. And hopefully, I age gracefully too. I think I have. Now, before we get to the topic here, because we have a ton of Reddit postings to go over, because Don and I, when we talk about these subjects, we want to hear what the other people are saying on the internet. There's a reason for that. We'll get to that in a few here once we switch on over to the other screen. But before we get to that, we were supposed to actually interview a good longtime friend of mine, Johnny Dilks. that I met working at the Hillsdale Cinema over like 35 years ago. And the reason why that didn't happen is we had one heck of a crazy week, baby. We had a ton of doctor's appointments, dentist appointments. We also had to both file our taxes. And, by the time this is released on the 16th, because today we are recording this on Sunday, April 13th, 2025, it will be released Wednesday, April 16th, 2025, you better have had your taxes done and filed, right, baby?
Oh, yeah. Really important. Just for one major reason. Avoid penalty costs. You don't want to have to pay the government any more money that you
should or you need to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't give them any more than you need to.
Right. Yeah, so it was a heck of a week, and some other things came up as well, and it was just crazy. And we were going to actually meet Johnny, yesterday, Saturday, to have lunch, and then we were going to record this today. But it just too many things happened, and
honestly, shit happens, guys.
Shit happens, and I'll tell you, baby, like this whole week. I'm surprised I'm here doing this show, but I will always find a way to make it happen. When you believe in yourself, when we believe in what we're doing, no matter how tired we are or how achy and sore we are, I'm very sore right now from moving around all week and doing all this stuff with you. You find a way to make things happen.
Yeah, because, you mentioned just the errands and stuff. That doesn't include you going and walking for an hour and a half.
Right.
You managed to get that in every day. So, after doing a whole day of errands, to come home, put together a show, go out and walk. My God, you are the man. Like, seriously. You work so hard, and I'm blessed to have you in my life.
Humbly speaking, thank you for the compliment. I'm
Absolutely.
Not really good at taking compliments. I prefer to give them, but I'm learning. A good woman will teach you to learn to accept compliments, because I've always been the kind of guy that loves to give, and I don't even need to take, but you need to take a little bit, or else you're not going to have anything left to give, right, baby?
Yeah, and as far as like going and giving him the compliments and stuff like that, they don't always have to be like, "Ooh, baby, you look hot today." No, stuff like that. You've been working so hard.
Do you like my nice Under Armour shirt?
Oh, I love it. I think I bought that for you.
No, actually, I bought this. I got this one like 70% off. It was like normally like, I think like $75, and I got it for like 25 or 30 or something like that. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, now I lost my train of thought. Where was I in that statement?
Well, you were saying that you don't have to necessarily say you're hot to pay your man a compliment, but you can just go ahead.
Compliments about little things. You can even say, "You know what, honey? Thanks for taking out the garbage this week. It really helped out." Or "Thanks for vacuuming or mopping, because that took something off of my plate for the week." And that's giving somebody credit and affirmation for their effort.
Well, you and I equally share in the household responsibilities.
Of course.
I'm a very well-domesticated man, which is important in the modern world. And even if it wasn't the modern world, I think any man in any period of time should have always helped his wife or girlfriend, living girlfriend, with all the household responsibilities.
And believe me, ladies, I had to fight him for some of these chores, because he's such a good man that he doesn't want me working so hard. He'd rather have me relax and enjoy my day. And so literally, we had to have a discussion about what I could take off his plate. Certain things around the house that I can do that's extra other than our chores,
That is true. One of the main reasons why I've done that is because you've been dealing with a lot of health issues, and, I don't want you to overdo it. I want you to continue to recover. Huh?
I was giving you a compliment.
No, I appreciate that, but I just wanted to let our wonderful audience know that, you've been dealing with a lot of, health issues and complications that are out of your control. And, that's one of the main reasons why I've stepped it up. When you love someone, you love them unconditionally, even though unconditional love is, almost impossible, if not impossible nowadays. I feel that Don and I do have that, and I'm very grateful and thankful. But yeah, so the Johnny interview is going to be sometime in May. We already discussed last week. I left Johnny a message earlier today, and I haven't heard back from him yet, but we'll get that on the books and do that sometime in May, maybe like the first or second week of May. And if not, it'll be sometime over the next month or two. So our apologies to Johnny Dilks and anyone else that was waiting for that. But this show, you and I had to do this show on our own with no guests, because if we even just brought one other man on this show, especially a man that is MGTOW, and completely is going to be stating the exact opposite of what we're going to be stating, it would be just like one big shit show of a fight. And I feel we're going to be able to provide a lot more value for our audience here between you and I. Because you're a lady, and the behavior of modern men, from what you've seen, babe, has been asinine, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's been disgusting.
It's been asinine, disgusting. A lot of these men are behaving very immaturely, very insecurely.
Archaic.
Huh?
Very archaic.
Yes. Just they're lost. And women are surpassing these men in the workforce. They're much more stronger and confident than men. Men are being run over by women. And it's not that women want to run over men. It's the fact that men are just simply choosing to not show up, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. There's no reason that a man and a woman couldn't be equal in their jobs, in their, relationships, but especially in working today. I don't know about the rest of you, but it's nearly impossible to raise children on a single income in California. It really is. You have to have a dual income.
That's correct.
And so, it's just, I don't know. It's disgusting because men are not stepping up. They're rather work a minimum wage job and let women bring in the money, and they sit back and be lazy. They're, excuse my language, but pussified men.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of pussified men. That's okay. I mean, it's the truth of the matter. They need to hear this, and if they hear this and it triggers them like it has in the past, they're just validating to us that what we're saying is true.
Yeah, absolutely. And as being the female here, I want to get it out there to these men. Not all women are like
that.
No.
Remember that acronym. Hold on a second. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
There's an acronym called NAWALT. It's short for NAWALT, and you'll see it in one of the postings. It stands for Not All Women Are Like That.
Yeah. We're not like that. I mean, you could literally find a woman that fits the needs that you have. I mean, if your needs are not having a woman in your life, well, by all means, that's fine. But there's no reason to be angry and hateful towards women in general. If you had a bad relationship, hate your ex, not the rest of us. We didn't do it.
Yeah, also, a lot of these guys are what are called incels, which stands for involuntary celibate. They can't even get a date, or if they get a date, the woman doesn't want to, go any further. It never leads to any sex or intimacy. And a lot of these guys think that, it's just women that are the problem. They think that the juice isn't worth the squeeze for many reasons, and we'll get into that. And the truth of the matter is, it's how you guys are showing up or not showing up. You may be showing up, but you're not showing up. Right, baby?
Oh, yeah. Even if you are contributing equally, that doesn't mean you're showing up. That means that you're just contributing to the household. You actually need to show up, be there, and help. Like, be an equal with the woman in the house. There's no reason to have a dominant partner unless it's in the bedroom.
That's true. But what I was also getting to is that even when these guys show up on a first date, they expect the woman to be hot and sexy and well-groomed and smelling nice. And they show up 100 pounds overweight, their shirt untucked,
messy hair.
Their messy hair, their laundry not done. So basically, their clothes have not been washed. They're wrinkled, right? They're showing up like a slob. And on top of that, they lack self-confidence. They're very timid, which could mean they're either shy, or they
embarrassed.
They have a thumb, stuck up there, and they're just not coming off appealing or attractive to women, but they think it's the woman's fault and they don't realize they are the problem.
Yeah. As a woman, I would say, I honestly don't judge people by the way that they look. I can say that freely. Yes, in the privacy of my own home, I might say, "Oh, did you see that person and what they wore? Not a good idea." But it's not putting the person, it's not attacking the person, it's attacking their choice of their wardrobe. But other than that, no, I do not judge people by their appearance. I judge them on their character. So I don't care if a man walks in and he's not like GQ or manscaped to the point of no return.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still talk to the person. I'll still try to connect and see, because I've dated people in the past that they weren't very up to my standards of like my own cleanliness.
Mm-hmm.
But I still loved him and dated him for the time being, despite that. That's what love is, and us women are capable of that. And as you can see, Eli and I, we stay put together. We have nice clothes, we shower, we have all of that going for us. Some people just get into a mode, like you're saying, that they just don't have the self-esteem to get up off the street and get into the fast lane of life. Do you agree?
I agree. And before we get into this here, and there's just a lot to go over, and I know my lady Dawn, no disrespect, she has a bladder like Niagara Falls, so she may be taking a potty break in the middle of this, and I'll keep it going. We're not going to edit anything. This is like live on tape.
We're going to get that done now, so we don't have any more interruptions.
Oh, you're going to go now?
I'll try to go right now, and then that way we shouldn't have any more interruptions the rest of the show.
Okay, so real quick here before you go, a lot of these guys will put out in these forums that it's just not even worth trying to date women. They're too difficult. It's too much work and this and that. The truth of the matter is, if you take care of yourself for yourself, you'll be ready for the right woman when she comes along. And all you have to do, if you're in shape already because you just want to be healthy, right? Healthy and fit, right? You're already going to have that. If you dress nice already and have nice clothes, you're already going to have that. So all you have to do is take a shower, groom yourself, shave, shower, use soap, lather it on nice, use some deodorant, use some cologne. I like Dracar Noir. We used to call Dracar Noir pussy juice, baby.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was popular back in like the 90s.
Yeah, and it's still good today, and I love Dracar. But the bottom line is, if you're already ready for yourself, then all you have to do is just show up and then just be yourself. Be cool, be down to earth, just have a conversation and get to know the woman. Like, these guys are making it way more difficult than it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. So
all right. So what? Let me do this. Let me go ahead and I'm going to turn the camera off and let these people know what's going on the screen here. So Dawn's going to use the restroom real quick. If you look on the screen, you'll see the The background says good habits. Remember that, baby. Okay. Yeah. Good habits. And that's what it takes to get a good woman and keep a good woman around. A lot of these guys that we're going to be discussing here today have the shittiest, worst habits I've ever seen. And when guys like myself have called them out through YouTube and other forums such as Reddit, such as Facebook, or anywhere else, when I've called these guys out in the past in a professional, tactful type of way to try to help them, they get triggered, and then they just start going on the attack. They start calling me names. They've called me cuckold. They've called me whatever. Every name in the book. I don't have to go down that list anymore. But it's about having good habits. Because, when you have good habits in all aspects of life, everything else just falls into place. And that even includes your dating life. So that is that. I'm just waiting for Dawn to return, and then we're going to switch on over to the if you're watching the podcast on YouTube, we'll switch on over to the browser screen where you will be able to see what we're reading here. Dawn is back here, baby. We were just talking about good habits are important. Let's wait for you to get back by your microphone there. As you can see on the screen there's a road there with good habits. That's for the, for the people watching the podcast on YouTube. And also, by the way, just to remind everyone, we release the podcast every Wednesday. I think Dawn is back. We can turn on the camera here. All right. We release the podcast every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on the main YouTube channel, GNA, Genuine Personal Development. If you are watching this in podcast land, we also have this going out to Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and your favorite,
my
baby.
favorite, iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio, and a ton more. So if you're watching it throughout the podcast network and you want to watch the video, we always share the link directly to, this episode's video in the description of the podcast. Also, if you want to reach out to myself, eliasmelas at genuinenetworkingassociation.org is the email. If you are interested in being a guest on the show or you have any feedback, you can do that. Eventually, Dawn, myself, and the rest of the GNA, short for Genuine Networking Association executive team, which is, our organization here, my organization, along with Dawn and the rest of the executives. They're going to have their own emails, and it's going to be shortened. It's going to be at gnanetwork.org. So it's going to be a lot easier than typing out that full long-ass name, right?
Yeah. So like, for instance, mine would it just be my first name?
It would be Dawn L or Dawn Ledgerwood at gnanetwork.org, but that's not active yet.
Yeah,
so if you try to send an email to that,
you'll get kicked back.
You're not gonna. Yeah, it's gonna say the email doesn't exist. Once the emails are active, they are going to be monitored, and any hateful stuff or nasty stuff, you're automatically going to be blocked immediately. So there are always going to be crazy people that are going to try to reach out to you, babe, because, they just want to be able to try to get to me, and, we don't let that happen anymore. So, anyway, so that is that. All right. You ready to get right to it, baby?
Let's do this.
All right. So let's go ahead and switch on over to the browser screen here.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you're going to see us on the bottom right. We're going to be tiny there, but you're going to also, if you're watching the video version, you'll be able to see what's on the screen. So the first posting here that we're going to go over is from the Reddit subreddit r/purple pill debate. And the topic is origins of the Manosphere. Have you heard of the phrase Manosphere, baby?
No, I have not. Can you clue me into the nonsense?
Well, I'm going to read it here, but basically the manosphere includes all men that participate in dating or marriage type of content anywhere on the internet. Whether you're MGTOW or not, you're a part of the manosphere.
Ridiculous.
Well, women have their
Sorry.
groups, so we
Sorry,
had to have.
guys.
I don't have a problem with the manosphere. I do have a problem. I don't necessarily have a problem with the MGTOW concept. I have a problem how some men are, preaching the message, and that's not the way the founders of MGTOW meant for the message to be put out. But we'll get to that in a bit here. So let's get to it here. I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to ask you your thoughts, baby, and then we'll read some comments as well. Okay?
Oh, that sounds great, babe.
All right. So, Manosphere is a term that encompasses a vast array of subjects that concern primarily men, which rose in prominence in the internet era as online forums provided the freedom to the average man out there to express his own perspectives, free from the tightly controlled press, TV, publication houses, and a very tightly controlled academia. So, baby, there was...
Okay, so it's not as ridiculous as what I was saying before, but I do think it's a good place for people to talk, as long as they're not hating. That's what we're doing. We're trying to talk to people and figure things out without hating, without judging. I want to know, I automatically judge
I want to
this.
know what turns you on.
So I want to know about this. I'm not familiar with this kind of group. I just thought all men wanted women. It just is what it is. But I would love to be enlightened by this manosphere.
I've got a song for every situation, baby. So whatever you say, there's a song for it. That was Joe, I Want to Know. Remember back in the days?
Of course.
Tell me what I gotta do to please you. Baby, anything you say, I'll do. 'Cause I only want to make you happy. From the bottom of my heart, it's true. I want to make sure my Shure SM7B is working.
Oh, my.
It's a great vocal mic.
Oh, my.
Yours is the SM58, the stage mic. Anyway, so let's continue here. So what I wanted to say, the Manosphere was created to give men a place to share their thoughts outside of the tightly controlled mainstream, or also known as legacy media. You hear Chris Como call it legacy media or mainstream media. ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, any of the cable networks, right? CNN, Fox News, News Nation. I love News Nation because they're right down the middle. They're very fair. We love them. But, ever since women were liberated, a little over 50 years ago, this is what has thrown off a lot of these men. And the mainstream media has not wanted to tackle this head on because they didn't want to deal with the clapback from the ladies. Because, baby, you know how women get when you challenge them on anything.
Oh, you challenge me and I'm going to fight harder and harder. I'm not going to back down from a challenge. I'm going to win a challenge.
Now, baby, I've always said that women respond to everything emotionally first, based on how they're feeling in the present moment, right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
So that's why I think the mainstream media didn't want to tackle this. They've kind of spoken about it over the last 5 to 7 years, but nowhere nearly as much as YouTube, Reddit, Facebook, and other social media sites. So that's what the Manosphere was created for. So it's not...
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, and when I came into doing this YouTube stuff, before that, I'd never heard of MGTOW or anything. Purple pill, red pill, I don't know, yellow pill. There's got to be a pill
yellow
for
pill.
everything.
I don't think it exists. Maybe you and I can create the yellow pill.
There's got to be a pill for everything, right?
Well, you're going to see as we go further down this Reddit posting that was created a month ago. It's a pretty good it's a pretty good article that sums up what this Manosphere is about, including MGTOW and other groups like the MRAs, the men's rights activists. Oh, I know. Well, listen.
But you know what? We have a women's right activist too.
And you know what the MGTOW people call them? They call them feminazis.
Well, at least I'm German, so they're getting something right.
Feminazis. Yeah, baby, I know. I used to be a part of this, and we'll get into that in a bit. But
yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Let's roll here, okay? Contrary to common views, the Manosphere is not just about bitter divorced men or incels, involuntary celibates, right? We talked about that earlier, who just can't get laid. They include spheres forums in which men will talk on any issues: politics, geopolitics, economy, sociology, history, sciences, and of course, sports. And of course, there is no such thing as a Manospherian ideology. Manospherean ideology, okay.
Those are big words.
The Manosphere is not an ideology. It is all theoretical, all-encompassing term to describe the sum of various forums where men talk, often contradicting and competing ones. Mm-hmm. And you want to mention about this before we go on?
No, keep reading.
Okay. It's good when the lady says keep reading.
No, because I want to take it all in.
Manosphere rose as a term 10 to 15 years into the internet era, but components of it, such as the MRAs and PUAs, MRAs are men's rights activists, baby, and PUAs are pickup artists. Remember the days of MTV, the pickup artists? You remember that, baby?
Yeah.
Go in the mic. You got to speak in the mic.
Sorry, I was laughing. Yes. God, sometimes you go way back in time.
Yeah, I remember. I used to watch the pickup artist on MTV. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. But components of it, such as the MRAs and PUAs, existed since the late 1970s and late 1980s. Because remember, in the 70s, women were already liberated over 20 years, and in the 80s, over 30 years, right? Respectively. But women were still not taken seriously until probably about the 80s, maybe early 90s. Remember the movie 9 to 5, baby?
With big Dolly Parton.
With big booby. I was just going to say, big booby Dolly. We love Dolly.
Come on, let's grow up.
No, I am. I Dolly Parton, God bless you, mad respect to Dolly Parton. But she's
a queen.
Yeah. All of those actresses and actors in the movie 9 to 5 perfectly depicted how women were still being mistreated in the workforce in the 80s, and it started to get a bit better, I believe, in the 90s, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the hardest part about the 80s was the fact that men had to admit that they needed the women to be secretaries, to be clerks, to be that, so they could still sit in the chair and be the suit.
Mm-hmm.
They needed to bring the women in to help. And I think that's where a little bit of controversy came in, because that's when they started the big thing about women starting on the bottom.
Didn't Prince have a song called Controversy? Sorry to interrupt you. Controversy.
I'm sorry, what? I was talking.
Didn't Prince have a song called Controversy? Sorry to interrupt you. Controversy?
I don't know, and that surprises me. Excuse me. So, you interrupted me. I'll just explain to you all right now. I have got the worst memory ever. I'm a squirrel. I see something shiny and I'll just run at it. Or literally when a dog sees a squirrel. So, I have to ask for reminders sometimes when he does interrupt me.
I'm sorry, baby.
Oh, sorry.
My apologies on that. I totally understand what you were saying, though. I just, like I said, there's a song for everything. Everything you mentioned reminds me of a certain song. But I won't do that anymore. Shall we continue?
We shall.
All right. So, thus thinking that the Manosphere started with Jordan Peterson in 2017 or Fresh and Fit in 2021 is huge error, which shows non-existent understanding of this topic. I actually got involved in 2017 on YouTube because I was running my channel a brand new channel. I was Coach Eli back then. I'm no longer Coach Eli, but we still teach personal development. Same thing. Just it's all branded under the organization, the GNA Network or Genuine Networking Association. And about 6 months into doing YouTube towards the end of 2017, last 3 months or so, around September, October of 2017, one of my subscribers said, "Hey, Eli, have you heard of MGTOW?" I said, "No." He goes, "It's men going their own way." I think that connecting with that group would allow you to present some really good content and meet some new people. And it seems like you're a purple pill, MGTOW, which we'll get into what it is. And I would consider myself to be purple pill. I don't consider myself to be MGTOW. Back then, I thought I was a part of the group, and maybe I was. But, if I had to choose which pill I am, it's the purple pill. And then that led to me seeking out a purple pill channel. I found the largest purple pill channel on YouTube back then. And I'm not going to mention who it is because it's somebody that still can't stop making nasty content on me to this day. We're not going to get into that. But that's how this whole thing started. I started to connect with people from that community, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it was more bad and ugly. So any thoughts on that before we continue? That was how I eventually got into it.
And the way they presented it to you did not make it
Oh,
sound.
sorry. That's how I initially got into it. Sorry. Go ahead, baby.
Well, the way that they presented it to you and explained it to you didn't lead you to thinking it was that kind of organization. It was like, or community, I should say.
Yeah.
You just heard, I can make some content out of this. It's going to be interesting. So you checked it out. You got involved. And then you said, wait, hold on a second. This ain't me.
No.
And you realize that. But that's what's great about this is he's actually experienced it. We're not talking just based out of our own thoughts or what we see on TV. This is a man who actually joined that and was able to get completely away from any mindset that they were putting in him.
I just wanted to help people. And a lot of these people were saying, "Oh, you call yourself a coach and you're just trying to take money from innocent men that have been divorced, raped, and men that are struggling." I'm not asking for money. Yes, I am out here to make money. Who isn't? But, I give away most of my stuff for free. My intentions are to help these guys better themselves so they can, get whatever they want out of life. These guys are struggling and they need help. But there were so many more angry and bitter people in the organization or in the group, let's call it a group, that it basically, there was basically nowhere to go with this. It was just one big shit show of angry and bitter men that honestly no woman on the planet, no decent, normal woman on the planet would ever want to give them the time of day. And you try to tell them that because you want to help them turn it around so they can get those women. And all they're saying is that, those women think they're just too good and they think they're better. Well, they are better than men because there should be no competition in the first place. But look at the way you guys are behaving and showing up, or at least behave back then and show up. And some of them still behave this way and show up. And look at the way women are showing up and they're showing up much better.
Yeah,
that's
they're outdoing the men.
What's that?
They're outdoing the men now.
Oh, there are a lot of women are outshining men nowadays. And
you look in the major professions, medical, a lot of female doctors out there now.
Yep.
A lot of them. In fact, I have more female doctors than I do male doctors, I think. Lawyers, executives in businesses, they are on Congress, the Senate, in the White House. We are coming up, and we're coming up strong, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, men are not going to hold us down. We are going to show, and it's not even just a woman thing. It's about showing men how we can be equal.
Right.
To certain levels. I mean, I should be able to know how to change a tire, but I don't. I would rely on a man for that, you know?
And that's your choice.
And
You have a
my
best
choice.
friend that changes her own tires, and her daughter changes tires too.
Yeah.
But that's their choice. And women
Yeah.
should have the same choices as men do and not be shunned for it.
Oh, yeah. And my good friend and her daughter, they know how to do that because you know what? A man didn't step up. And she raised that girl. She's now 26 years old. And she did that all by herself. And she worked every day she could. And that shows how strong us women are now. Because 30 years ago would have been nearly impossible.
You want to know something, baby? And see, like your friend, we're not going to mention their names, but your friend has an early to mid 20s daughter.
She's 26.
26, okay. And she can change her own tire. And she's got a relationship, and we've talked. I think she wears the pants in that relationship. But here's the thing. Like, men shouldn't be afraid of women like that. Let's say, like, you know, that woman is driving with her man, and they get a flat tire. And the man goes out there and says, I'm going to change the tire. No, and then the woman says, no, babe, I know how to change the tire better.
This.
What's that?
Like, I got this.
I got this. Let me change the tire. I said, okay, hey, babe, if you want to change the fucking tire, this is what I would say. If you want to go out there 100-degree weather and change the fucking tire, I'll sit in here in the AC.
Or in the freezing rain.
Or in the rain. And I'll sit in here and stay all dry and shit. Right? See, I wouldn't let that get to me. You don't want to upset women. You want to let them at least attempt to do what they want to do. And they can do it, right? Most of them can do it.
9 out of 10 times, if the man says that, she'll go, you know what? You go ahead and do it anyway.
Right. Because what is the woman doing? The woman is shit testing you.
Yeah.
To see, do you have a fucking spine?
Mm-hmm.
Or is
or are we going to be stuck out here waiting for AAA?
Well, it's not even that. She's looking to see if you have a spine to stand up to her if she does something wrong. Because if you never stand up, and standing up to your woman doesn't mean beating the hell out of her, doesn't mean yelling at her. It means saying, come on, babe, you're being a little fucking ridiculous, right? How many times have I said that to you?
Oh, like every day.
How many times have you said that to me?
At least 5
It works
times
both
a day.
ways, right?
At least 5 times a day.
Right. So go ahead, baby.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's just, yeah, like you said, no fighting, nothing. It's like, come on, babe, are you thinking these things through? And that's what a partner is there for.
Uh-huh.
They're there to catch you before you fall down and make a fool of yourself, you know? And that's, you know, women have been that place for a man. We've always been the comfort, the nurture. You have a bad day, we make you a nice dinner. We let you sit on the recliner. We put the kids to bed. You relax. That's how it's always been, you know? Now, not so much. Now dads are picking up the kids from soccer practice. They're going home and making dinner.
Right.
And mom's working, you know? So, I mean, life has changed and just accept it, guys. I mean, seriously, it doesn't make you inferior to us women. All we want you to do is bring up your own expectations, like of yourself. You know, if you don't believe in yourself and believe that you're able to get something, you will never get that thing. Never.
I see your microphone. I thought your headphone wire is off to the side there. Oh, there.
Oh, right here. You want me to flip it? Oh.
Yeah, you can flip it.
I gotta take these off. Well, I can't. So
already, almost 45 minutes, and we just got through the first paragraph.
Just let it be.
Oh, it's all right. It's all good. Not a big deal.
Oh.
All right. We just got through the first paragraph. Now, the other ones are going to take less time, but this is the first of a total of 7 Reddit postings. We're probably only going to get through 4 or 5, maybe do the others another time. But I've got them listed here in order of importance. So let's go ahead and continue here. Manosphere encompasses an array of topics, including not at all exhaustively the following. The first one is the MRAs, babe, which are the men's rights activists or men rights activists. I think he got that wrong. It's men's rights activists. Rose in the late 1970s to defend men from the continuously changing family laws that came at the expense of men's basic human rights regarding their biological kids and their personal property. These issues and legal injustices that turn men into second-class citizens have not been resolved as of 2024 and 2025. This is where I think the MRAs are wrong. And I used to think they were right.
Oh, my God, yeah.
This is where I think they... I thought they were right initially, but they're wrong. Let me explain this, and I want to hear your thoughts.
No, because I have a story. I have a story to tell you.
Okay, so real quick, when it comes to getting married here in the U.S. and probably most other, countries, or it's done by the state level in the U.S. And in other countries, they call it a province, state, province, etc. Right? Most states here in the U.S. are called community property states. And what that means is anything that, that is acquired or gained while you're married is community property and will be divided 50-50 if you get a divorce, right? So anything that you had before the marriage, for the both of you.
If you own a house, if you own a car, all of that is yours, right? That
is correct. Now, I'm not exactly sure if the home goes up in value while you're both living there. And, obviously.
Yeah, there are a lot of different angles and perspectives and everything.
And we don't have to get into that. The point I'm trying to make here is this, okay? A lot of these men say they're getting divorce raped. And that's because these are traditional men that are known as tradcons. We call them tradcons out here, traditional conservatives. These are primarily the people like I've been talking about, baby. These people live in the Midwest and the South, in very highly conservative areas, where they still believe in the very old school values of women not having equal rights. Women should be barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. They should be doing all of that stuff, not working, doing the household chores, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. And then the husband just goes to work and comes back home. And that's that. Okay. The big dog is over there. He's just sniffing around. He's already gone to the bathroom, pee and poo. So we're all good.
Yeah. He's
Our audience really wanted
around.
to know that. But the bottom line here is that even if you're a man in the modern world that doesn't want your wife to work, and let's say she's okay with that, because a lot of women aren't. A lot of women want to, work a job or have a career. They want to have a purpose. Like we've talked about that, right, baby?
Yes.
Okay? And we're about to get to you in a second. Okay.
Yeah.
It's your choice. It was your choice as a man to want to be with a woman that is a housewife, or now in the modern world, we call them homemakers, because housewife sounds very derogatory. We live in a world in a woke world, so we're going to call it a homemaker, right? Housewife, homemaker, right?
Well, because in today's world, it's not just a housewife. It could be a house husband. So we have to make a neutral term.
It can work both ways, but before we get to you, if one of the two partners in the marriage is the only one working, okay, then that's community property income right there. That's community property while you're married.
Oh yeah.
These guys that are angry and bitter that went through a divorce and had half their per se shit taken, they chose to either be with a woman that doesn't want to work, or a woman that does want to work, but they don't want them to work. The men don't want them to work.
Yeah.
So when these guys go through divorce, a lot of the reasons why they go through divorce, or one of the biggest reasons why they go through divorce is because they're working so much and overtime and many hours just to be able to provide, so the wife doesn't have to work. That's their marriage is lacking intimacy. Their marriage is lacking, going out on dates. Like, even when you get married, you still have to date and court your wife like you did before you got married, because that's the reason why she wanted to marry you, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of these guys are blaming women and the system for this when the system is fine. The system is fine. It's just that you guys are stuck in the past and don't believe in any progression, right? I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
How about if these guys want to be stuck in the past, how about we take their smartphones away, their computers away? Let's take away their internet connection. If they really want to go back to TradCon days, we will take away all the amenities, especially these damn smartphones, right? That they can't live without. And let's see how they can survive. Go ahead, babe. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I just want to go back to what I was going to say a while ago. You've gotten a little bit past it, but I just wanted to let some men out there know, in today's modern world, if you divorce a woman, that doesn't mean you have to give her half of everything you have. You go to court, and like my ex-husband did, made it so that I was unfit completely for anything. And, we lost the house and we split the cars, but that was really it. He left the furniture because he didn't need it. But other than that, he took everything from me. And because I was making as much money as him.
Exactly.
I didn't get spousal support. I didn't get child support because of my income. So you know what, guys? We're actually doing you a favor. We're going out there, we're working to prevent you from losing all of your stuff.
Well, not only that, out here, you need to have dual income, especially out here in California, especially in the San Francisco Bay Area or LA area. You simply cannot afford unless one of the couples. Oh wow, did they end up coming back? Is the game over? Giants ended up winning. Okay, the Giants ended up winning on this day, Sunday, April 13th, 2025. All right, thank you for the update, baby. But you were making six figures.
Yes.
Your husband was making your ex-husband, your husband back then, was making six figures.
Yes.
Here's the perfect example. Dawn was working. Her ex-husband was working. So they pretty much equally contributed to
the household,
the marriage,
the marriage and the household,
the marital assets.
Yeah.
So when you went through divorce, you didn't get really much. You got a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Yeah. The only thing that I received was a portion of the retirement because he did not start his job until we were married. So
right.
Everything that he was putting in to his retirement was considered as mutual money. Mm-hmm. And so I got the portion back for the 13 years we were married. And that's how they made that decision. So, you know what, guys? I'm here to tell you that it's not all that bad. I do get where you're coming from because there was a time where dads were completely pushed out. Men were completely pushed out. And because of that, the woman would take the house because the children are there. She would get money, child support, spousal support because she has the children. It's like all of these things that I understand. That's why it pissed y'all off. But it's different now. You know what? You never know. One day she could be paying you child support.
Right.
Or spousal support or giving you half of her retirement. So I understand where this is coming from. And thank you for getting a little bit more in depth with that. So I understand the concept.
Right.
What I'm saying is it's 2025. We have to adjust with the times and what's going on around the world. Now you're seeing over the decades, the progression of women in the workforce. And that has made men so frightened and insecure for a very long time. I'd say for at least the last 30 years. Since the beginning of the 90s, I would say that's when they started And that's why they started saying women were women were sleeping their way to the top and getting those jobs
And
that way.
there is some truth to that, but it's not just that. There are lots of women that have done it the right way, which is what you're talking about. Listen, baby, we got to be fair and say, hey, there are some women that sleep their way to the top, but
oh yeah,
but that's like maybe what, less than 5% of the women out there, right?
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
In like, just I don't even know the word to describe some women out there. It's we could be just as,
we call them 304s nowadays. We'll get to that in a bit, but you know what the 304 is. We'll get to that in a second. You know, it's like a garden tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can say it. It's a garden hoe. Like,
yeah, garden hoe.
A shovel, a garden hoe, rake.
A garden hoe.
It's the same thing. Look it up in the dictionary, people.
Oh boy.
But okay, go on.
All right.
Moving on.
Well, wait a minute. Before we move on, before I met you, in 2 previous relationships, and I'm not going to mention their names, but one was the veterinarian, the one that cheated on me. And then my relationship after that was someone I used to do content out here. Those 2 women, they were both the breadwinners in their marriages, and they lost half their shit. So let me make it very clear here, okay? And I don't condone what my ex, the veterinarian, did, and I don't care. I'm long over that. But she was the breadwinner in her marriage, and her ex-husband, a big loser, like one of these guys we're talking about, basically did nothing and got half of her assets, which obviously they were married, so it's both their assets, but he didn't contribute a damn thing to it. Same thing with the girlfriend after that. You know, she was the breadwinner, running a business, making 6 figures. Her ex-husband that they had 2 girls with, was working at a grocery store. He was making about $50,000 a year. That grocery store ended up closing down. And then after that point, he just had no desire to go out there and get any other job or do something that was going to pay him a decent salary. So it was all on her. And eventually, after giving him so many chances for years and years, she just had to let him go. But it cost her. So you guys have to understand, these laws protect both men and women. They protect they protect the person that, is in the marriage, that is being taken care of by the other person. So you can almost look at it as a dependency, even though you're married. It's the person that is the breadwinner. If they're unhappy in the marriage and they continue to stay in that marriage and continue to be the breadwinner, the longer they take to get divorced, the more it's going to cost them. That's just the way it goes. If it was on the flip side, they would be the other party. So men and women both pay in divorce. It depends who the breadwinner is. But let me ask you this, babe, before we move forward. Okay, I respect the working woman and all that. But if you have a woman being the breadwinner in a relationship, and the man has nothing going for him, or had something going for him when they got married initially, and then lost his job and just couldn't get back on that horse. After a while, would that make you? How would that make you feel? Would that make you look at that man differently, that he just can't find a way to keep doing his part as the man, or how would that make you feel?
I would be disappointed. I would feel as if my man was failing me, but that was only because he, even with a roadblock or a speed bump, if he can't get up from that, how can I have faith that he's going to be there and he's going to be strong for me one day. Like, it's when people get into ruts like this, it's hard to know when they're going to come out of them. It's hard to know if they're going to come out of them. My advice is just believe in yourself. That's the biggest thing. Believe in yourself, have confidence. Even if you don't have money to have the best clothes, the best shoes, or, the $100 haircut, that doesn't matter to a lot of people. If you go to anywhere average America, that's not how women are. You're thinking about people on TV. That's what you're seeing.
Yeah.
You're not seeing how women actually are underneath all of the lights, the cameras, and makeup.
Yeah. And, you can't trust the man's masculine core if he can't do two things that men have always been looked upon by women to do, even in the traditional days. That's protecting and providing. If you cannot protect and provide, let's say if you can't provide your part, all right?
How do you protect your family?
How can how can your woman trust you to be able to protect her from any possible danger you folks may come across while you're out on the night on the town?
Or just not having food for the baby, not being able to depend on you to contribute to groceries, to rent, to all of that. And that's, unfortunately, a lot of that is going on in the modern world.
Right. And again, women, even if you go back to the TradCon days, you traditional conservatives out there, even back in those days, women were attracted to you based on your ability to protect and provide. Maybe looks weren't as important back then. I think they kind of always have been. They're more important now. And a lot of guys, are just not happy with that. We'll get more into that in a little bit. You have a choice. You can take better care of yourself and look good. If you want to be with a woman that looks good, then you got to look good too. It can't just be a one-way street, but it's about protecting and providing, or providing and protecting. And, a lot of these guys, with my exes, just for example purposes, they were not able to provide, and they definitely were not able to protect. And when a woman feels like you're not able to protect her when there's any danger, she doesn't trust your masculine core, and then starts to slowly fall out of love with you over the course of time. And then one day, okay, I can't do this anymore. And tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, no. Because that one day you wake up with resentment. And then when you hit that resentment,
that's the last straw.
It's over.
That's the last straw, right, baby?
Yeah, you're done. Out the door.
Yep. All right. I think we should continue. We are at 1 hour and 3 minutes.
Do you mind if I take another quick potty break?
You got to go again right now?
Of course.
My God, you've got
hamster bladder.
All right, baby, go ahead. I will go ahead and turn off the camera here.
Thanks.
I'm going to take this moment while you're going on potty break number 2 and say, as a reminder to you folks out there that are watching this on the audio-only version of the podcast, whether it's Apple, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Amazon Music, or my lady's favorite, iHeartRadio, or one of the many other various places where, this audio-only version of the podcast is at. If you would like to join us on YouTube, okay, all you have to do is go in the description section of wherever you're watching the audio podcast at, and then click the link that'll take you to the actual video version of this podcast on our main channel on YouTube, which is GNA, Genuine Personal Development. GNA short for Genuine Networking Association, or the GNA Network. And then once you get there, okay, if you look in the description of the video version of our podcast, you will also see a link in the description to our secondary channel, GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development, where we do our live streams. Sometimes we'll do them on the main channel too, but primarily the live streams are on the live channel, GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development. I am about to hit episode 1000 on my Walking with Purpose live stream series. As of the time of this recording, I think we're at episode 985 or 986, something like that, 987. Let me just double check here real quick, because we just finished episode number 985 a couple days ago, as of the day of this recording on Sunday, April 13th, 2025. And so we've got 14 more episodes till episode 1000. By the time this is released on Wednesday, April 16th, 2025, we will have probably done a couple more episodes. So within a few weeks or so, and Dawn is back.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're going to go and put the... see, I turned the video off while...
Wait 1 second.
Yeah, okay. So, she's putting on some lipstick now. The camera's back on.
Already?
We're going to be doing a very
Camera ready.
special show for episode number 1000, and more than likely, Dawn's going to be joining me for the Walking with Purpose episode number 1000. And
I will be.
I've walked an average of about 3 miles per show. So we'll definitely be over 3,000 miles of walking while live on the air after that episode. It's like walking from here in California to New York. What are your thoughts about it before we get back to...
I think it's incredible. I mean, that's a lot of fucking walking.
It is a lot of fucking walking. It is.
But you know what? It's good
What's
exercise. Gives you something to do. You know, even though you're doing your show, it still gives you the time to think. It gives you fresh air, which into your lungs fuels your brain.
Yeah.
Like when you have nice, fresh air, man, your whole body benefits from that. Mm-hmm. Like really it does. Like a nice, not hot, but nice sunny day.
Yeah.
Like 70 degrees and just nice, brisk air, which I know I'm talking to everybody in the country and world right now. And when I say 70 can be brisk, you know, I know y'all are laughing, especially you, my friend Tia, you know. She's
shout out
one
to
of
Tia
our
and Sandra
executives.
Palacio. Shout out to the ladies.
Yeah, she's one of our executives here at the GNA.
That's right. That's right.
Short for Genuine Networking Association.
That's right.
Yes.
All right. Should we continue?
Yeah. This is a really great show.
Been a great, very, very good show.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, like I said before, guys, you know, I was completely ignorant to all of this world until I met Eli. And then I started hearing all of this stuff, like in his comments.
Of course.
Yeah, just the people from that group coming over. And now since he left them, now they hate him. And so a lot of hate comments. And so that's how he explained it to me. And then we just kind of dropped it. We never really went in depth. We did watch a nice documentary. Well, a good documentary on incels.
Oh, yeah.
That was really informative. And then, so it has sparked my interest because it's actually a very big subject that's going on today in the world with politics also. All of those angry men typically are conservatives.
Oh, they are. They are. They are. I'm not saying there aren't any liberals or Democrats that aren't angry. I was an angry, slight left liberal Democrat. But the majority of them are the old school traditional conservatives that believe in
the Constitution.
No, the old school Bible. And
that old.
Everybody believes in the Constitution.
No, somebody doesn't.
Well, you're talking about Donald J. Trump. That's another show. But yeah, you're talking about these guys are stuck in the past. They're stuck
stuck on
the
stupid.
they're stuck. Yeah, they're stuck on stupid. They're stuck in the old school Bible days. And if we're going to all look at that, then we're going to look at, no premarital sex and other stuff like that. And everybody,
no drinking.
Everybody violates that pretty much.
No smoking.
What's that?
No smoking, no drinking, no premarital sex, no, basically, hun, no fun.
Yeah. And so, anyway, I think we gotta continue because we're never gonna get through this.
Longest podcast ever.
Well, we're gonna do probably just a little over 2 hours. If we have to go another show, we're gonna show. PUAs, pickup artists, rose in the late 1980s with writers such as Ross Jeffries and took a community format in the internet era and respective forums led by PUAs such as Mystery. Wasn't Mystery the one that did MTV?
I'm sorry, who?
Mystery.
I am not positive. That's something we're going to have to look up. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that was from the MTV show, The Pickup Artists.
Was it back in the Kurt Loder?
That was the Kurt Loder era, or
Yeah.
slightly after that. I think it was right around the time where Loder's era was coming to an end. But yeah, this was like late
when
90s.
I wasn't allowed to watch MTV.
I mean, let me see. The Pickup Artist. 2007. Season 1, episode 1, 2007. And hosted by pickup artist Mystery.
Oh, you were right.
Yeah, Eric Von Markovic and his wings, J-Dog and James Matador. With Tara Ferguson replacing J-Dog in season 2. I'm reading the Wikipedia. I'm not showing it on the computer. But yeah, I remember the name Mystery and I remember all that. And I mean, it was interesting to watch back then. You know why? Because in 2007, like YouTube had just come out in 06, 07, something like that. And we did not have the capabilities to do, what we do today on YouTube back then. Back then, you could upload standard definition, square, 480p video or 360p video. So that's why that show was really big on MTV back then. But all of that now, you won't see it on TV. It's all gone to the internet.
Yeah.
It's all gone to YouTube. It's all gone to Reddit, etc.
You don't even see music videos on MTV anymore.
But do you remember the pickup era? We got to blitz through these faster because we've been
getting
wow.
Off
We
course.
could do like a 10-hour show on this baby, and maybe we'll do a series.
We just talk for like 10 hours in a row sometimes.
Right. But what are your thoughts about the pickup era? Do you think a lot of these pickup artists were just trying to make money, or do you think they were legitimately trying to teach guys how to actually get a woman for the right reason?
I think it's a little bit of both.
I agree.
I think it was a good market to say, hey, if you're struggling, let us help you. We'll give you the keys, the terms, the moves.
Right.
And then they go out there and they use those and they dress sharp.
Right.
They do all of that. They're the easy guy. They literally are the panty dropper in the room.
Yeah. I agree with you. I feel that even the good men need to have pickup skills to get any woman.
Yeah.
Now,
you have to be slightly smooth. Don't come in and be like, have you been here often?
No, you just got, how do I say this the right? You have to have swag. You can't
smooth.
You can't go in there and do something that your woman expects every man to do. This is the problem. Like a lot of these guys, they do the same shit that every man does, right? And a lot of the real good pickup artists would teach you to just be yourself, have a conversation, don't be afraid to just say something, no matter what it is, as long as it's something that's funny, that's charming, that's, that defines who you are. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And don't try too hard. Just be yourself. Don't have any expectations. Right.
Yeah. It's really nice when a man or a woman, in either case, puts the effort into themselves, but can walk through the room knowing that they look good, but not acting like they look good. They could walk in there and be just as humble as anybody else, but they know they got the swag. They're going to go in for the kill.
Mm-hmm.
They earn respect by being humble when they walk through the door.
Uh-huh.
And us women fall for it every time.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have...
Or he's going to be the guy that comes in and interrupts, fight between a couple or something, where he's going to be the stand-up man to come in and not cause a fight, but say, hey, buddy, it doesn't look like she wants to talk to you right now. Why don't you go take a walk, Try to diffuse the situation, not ignite it.
Right. So all men need to have pickup skills. But I personally feel getting those pickup skills and being taught those pickup skills from the right man is crucial, because there are guys out there that are going to try to sell you a pipe dream, right? There are guys out there that, all they care about is banging as many women as possible. And then they will basically sell that to you, which is something that, you guys, a lot of guys may not want. There are a lot of guys out there that can't pick up women, that want a real relationship. And a lot of these, pickup artists, they basically don't even focus on that at all. They just say, go out there and plow a lot of pussy. That's it. Right. And whenever the right one comes along, maybe she will, maybe she won't. Then you deal with that at that point. No, the right way to approach it is this. You have to know what you want. And there's nothing wrong with putting yourself out there and saying, hey, I'm seeking a long-term relationship. I'm not into casual dating or anything like that. Put this on your dating profiles. I'm seeking a long-term relationship. I'm not seeking anything casual. I would like to get to know someone and see where it goes. I don't have any expectations, but I'm hoping for the best. If you'd like to take a chance on this journey with me, leave me a message or something like that. So you can't, if you really want to find a relationship, you have to make that be known. And the best place to do that is online. Now, you're not going to go to a bar and talk to women at a bar and say, hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. And I just want you to know before we start talking, I'm seeking a relationship. They're going to be like, this guy's nuts. A bar is not the right place to meet the right woman. Maybe church is.
Well, that's not always true.
That's subjective to...
It is subjective to the bar you're going to.
Or to the individual person or
the individual
woman.
Person or the situation. You could meet the love of your life in a bar.
You might, but it's less...
Doesn't necessarily mean the two of you are alcoholics. It could just be like, oh, I'm going out with the girls and he just happens to be there and we meet eyes.
But typically, when people go to bars, this is not you.
They're looking for hookups.
They're looking for hookups. They're looking for something to get their mind off of something else.
Wham, bam, thank you,
Wham,
ma'am.
bam, thank you, ma'am, right? So if you want to find the right woman, you got to put yourself out there on online dating. There are better apps than others. Like, I met Dawn on Match.com. Match.com, I believe, is still good, and so is Hinge. And maybe, what do you call the other one? Bumble. But the other ones, like Tinder and stuff, those are hookup sites. I'm not saying you can't find true love on any of them. You can find true love anywhere if both the man and the woman are seeking that. But if you want something real, you have to let it be known in a subtle way where you don't come off desperate or needy or anything. And you gotta go seek for it where other women are seeking for that. Okay? Mm-hmm. So Match.com or the Match app, Hinge, not bad either. I believe they're still around. And maybe even Bumble, right? but you got to focus on, putting your energy in the area, where women want the same thing that you do. Because there are women out there that just want hookups.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There are women out there that are going to play you just for money. There are women that are going to play you for whatever. And it's up to you as the man to properly vet and take your time to get to know the woman before you invest even any time or money into them. Go ahead.
No, I have a story to tell you about a person that I know,
Okay.
a friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good-looking guy, just average good-looking. Super nice guy, but a bar person. I met him several years ago, just hanging out in the bar, and became friends with him. And for about a year and a half, I never ever noticed. He had a tumor on the top, like his clavicle area, that was like the size of a cantaloupe.
Oh, wow.
I never saw that because I looked into his eyes and I met him as a friend. And we had no sexual connection, nothing like that. But he was a guy that I met casually as a friend. And it took me a long time before I noticed a huge imperfection on his body. So
Wow.
I want to put that out there to anybody who thinks that if you have a blemish or if you have something visibly wrong with you, you know what? I have a friend who has a birthmark across the whole side of his face. You own it. You own who you are.
Somebody's going to accept you.
Yes. My ex said, and I hate this, but there's a dick for every pussy and a pussy for every dick.
No, that's true. There is a lot of truth to that. But no matter what flaw, every one of us has flaws, blemishes, things that we're physically or aesthetically not proud of, right? But what somebody as a dating partner is going to look at is how you handle it. Do you let it bother you? Are you insecure about it? Or are you like, fuck it, these are the cards I was dealt, by God, and I'm just gonna be me. And if I'm ever asked about it, I'll just say, yeah, this is just the way, God, made me. These are the cards I was dealt, and you know what? It is what it is. And, I love who I am, but it's up to you, if you want to love and accept this or not. Like, there's nothing wrong with even saying that. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I grew up messed up teeth. Messed up. Mm-hmm. They were separated. I had an overbite. I didn't feel very comfortable in grade school when kids are making fun of me. You know who was making fun of me? The boys. The boys,
huh?
Yeah. It wasn't the other girls. It was the boys.
Was it the boys in the hood?
No, because I didn't live in the hood. But, that's my thing. And then, my parents got me braces and my self-confidence came up at that point. Mm-hmm. Now, currently, I do need more work. And I'm freely saying that because I know it needs to be done and people can see it. And I'm going to get it done and it's going to look beautiful. And once that happens, my self-esteem is going to go from a 10 to a 20. Mm-hmm. Because I already think I'm a dime, no matter what anybody else says.
And it's going to cost us a shit ton of money, but she's worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am cocky. Mm-hmm. But you know what? If I wasn't at least a little cocky, how do you have confidence in yourself? You have to be a little cocky.
You do.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being cocky, playful, funny as a man. I've said that before many times. Just don't be an arrogant, pompous ass.
Oh, yeah, I'm not. I'm grateful that I look like this at 50.
Don't be arrogant because then you'd be like Donald J. Trump.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, I'm grateful I look like this at 50. Are you kidding me? I mean, all of that money invested in all of those expensive moisturizers finally have come through. So, we're getting off track again.
Let's go. Okay, there's more here. Let's go back. Okay. Red pill. a generic term to describe the action of accepting the reality as it is and not as it should be. Red pill elements were found among MRAs, men's rights activists, and early PUAs, pickup artists, but it was the second generation of PUAs. Many were followers of mysteries such as Rossi and Roosh. Oh, that's was that Roosh B? Yeah, Roosh B, who were interested to dig deeper into the topic of intersexual dynamics and how these have been affected by the established political, economic, and social policies. So the red pill guys are the angry and bitter guys that have basically said the stove is just way too hot in the modern world to date or especially marry a woman. That could potentially end up costing you half of your assets. Well, nowadays, most women are working and many women are out earning men. So the only benefit of a divorce in this case would be the man. Like these men, and this is what they don't get. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you divorce us and you take half our shit.
Right.
It goes both ways, guys. In the modern world. And if you would just wake up and see that, then you're not living honestly, it's equal now. It's as equal as it can be.
Right.
We get fucked over as much as you all get fucked over.
But here's the problem, babe. Like, even if they take you for half your shit because you're the breadwinner, these men can't stand the fact that a woman is being more manly than they are. Like, these men have figuratively speaking, literally every man has balls, but these men figuratively have no fucking balls. They're embarrassed. They're ashamed of their lack of masculinity that's being very, how to say this the right way. Women are passing up men left and right. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, women are surpassing men, and these men can't stand it, and it affects the way they feel about their masculinity. Mm-hmm. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And with the changing in the modern world, marriages have decreased because men can't handle women being the breadwinner. So you're my girlfriend doing your own thing. I'm over here doing mine. It's not. It looks better if y'all are separate than it does if you're in a marriage and you're the loser.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Men are not, see, the problem is y'all are not standing up for yourselves the right way and not being about being attacked by women.
They're afraid of women.
Or suppressed by women.
They're afraid by women. They're afraid of rejection primarily because they lack self-confidence. And women can smell insecurities within a man just like that.
And that's by my friend that had that tumor. He had confidence. He walked in there, didn't care. That was who he was. That was a part of him. It has now been removed, and he's healthy now. But my point is that he was like, he looked at himself in the mirror and he said, you know what, Chad? I'm going to go get a girl tonight.
Chad.
That was his name.
I love, you know what we call them?
I know what Chads are.
We call them Chads and Tyrones. Chad gets to bang all the pussy, and Tyrone is the African American, the black man version of a Chad, right?
Yeah,
so Chad and Tyrone.
But this was actually his real name.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would look at himself and say, you know what, Chad? You look good. Let's go. Let's get some booty
I'm sorry,
tonight.
baby. You know people in your network of friends that are named Chad, and every time I hear the Chad name, even though a lot of these guys are just really good guys, the name Chad has the stigma of the Chad.
Yeah, the two Chads that I know, both are great guys. They don't have, one was a little questionable. He cheated on his wife, but...
Oh, yeah, I know. You told me about that Chad, but we're not going to mention their last name because we don't want people looking into them.
No, it could be
anyone.
Chad Pumperdinkle.
Yeah,
for all I know.
Chad Poo-Poo Head.
Poo-Poo Head.
Right.
But yeah, that's... Maybe I'll just leave that for Chads now. But yeah, no, neither one of the Chads that I know are assholes. And that one made a bad choice. And, you know, his woman forgave him.
Yeah.
And they're still married.
I'm like, baby, when you told me that story, I'm like, that definitely sounds like a Chad to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said.
He basically, was living the stigma of his name.
It was like, you're like, is his name Chad? Before I even told you that.
Chad. Anyway, let's
move on.
Let's continue here. All right. MGTOWs, which stands for Men Going Their Own Way. MGTOWs equals a group of men stemming from any of the aforementioned communities or coming from any other provenance on their own, who decide to distance themselves from women as well as from the established social paradigm. Yeah, so, I think MGTOWs and red pillars are very, very similar. Yes, you can be red pill or red pilled without being a MGTOW, but most red pillars are MGTOW. Most red pillars, in my opinion, that are not MGTOW are purple pillars. We'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, they're just angry and bitter men that think they got divorced, raped, which they didn't. They chose to not have their wife work or be with a woman that doesn't want to work, and that was on them. A lot of these men are whining and complaining because of poor choices they made, and they're still stuck on stupid some years, some even decades later. Go ahead, babe.
Oh, yeah, I had a good point to make there. Say that again. Your point.
MGTOWs?
Oh, yeah. I was actually not going to speak on the MGTOWs so much, but the Manosphere. Now, the Manosphere is good for men to chat about things they're frustrated with. So, yeah.
Or anything. Anything that men are struggling with. It doesn't even, have to be women. It doesn't even have to be women. It can be anything, right? It could be
you lost your job, you lost your house,
right?
Your dad died.
Right.
It could be anything. But, they could go there and say, God, my wife cheated on me. And I don't know how to handle this. We're separated. And having a men's community to be there supportive is fine. It's when you take it over the top and you're like marching and picketing and hating. That's when it goes too far. Right? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. And I have nothing more to add to the MGTOWs because I've pretty much said everything. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's a bunch of angry and bitter men that have chosen to still not accept responsibility for their actions, the choices they made, the women they chose, right? And those women could have been good women, but, maybe certain other things happened in the marriage that turned the women off, and then it changed everything. And a lot of these men married their high school sweethearts or married the first or second woman they dated, and they didn't have that much experience to be able to learn to properly vet and find someone that's more compatible. Does that make sense, baby? If you rush into it.
If I go back to when I got married, that was exactly it. My ex had only had 3 partners before that, as far as girlfriends, and I really only had like high school boyfriends. And so it was a very low number. So we hadn't been out there to vet what would be the most compatible thing. Mm-hmm. What happened is I got pregnant with my beautiful daughter, and we thought the best thing to do was to get married for the child. Mm-hmm. And 13 years later, not a good idea.
I'm going through the big D and don't mean Dallas. I can't believe what the judge had to tell us. I got the Jeep, she got the palace. I'm going through the big D and don't mean Dallas. Mark Chestnut, baby.
Thank you.
Remember that?
I do remember that. And you're right. You have like a song for everything I'm
I
talking
do.
about. You know, it's like,
Well, you went through the Big D and not Dallas, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it.
You remember that song right from the 90s?
Of course I do. I was a 90s country girl. 90s country all the way, baby. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sing for y'all.
All right, we're going to keep rolling forward because we have so much to go through in so little time. We're probably going to do a part 2 on this show, baby. All right, so Black Pillars. Black Pillars equals a group of disillusioned men. Sorry, disillusioned. I think delusion would be better, but disillusioned men who are completely disappointed, really dejected from the status quo, and who fall into absolute pessimism about not only the future of intersexual relations, but really of the overall survivability of Western societies as we know them. So the Western world is where we're at. A lot of these men think if they go to the Eastern world, like Thailand and other areas, that's where this guy...
I thought it was a song.
You're thinking about Whoosh Whoosh, one of our...
Oh, no. I thought a song came to head.
What song is that? What song is that, baby?
I'm not singing. I'm not a good singer, honey.
What's the song called?
What were you saying? Say it again.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so basically, Whoosh Whoosh, somebody that's been a part of MGTOW and following our content, and he was following my content even before you and I met over 3.5 years ago. He's all saying, yeah, I'm going to go and find myself a 25-year-old hottie in Thailand. My money will go further there and this and that. And, it's like I like the guy and I feel for him. He's also come out and said, hey, I'm an overweight guy, and I don't have a whole lot of money and this and that. And, what woman's going to want me? Well, if you have that attitude, then you ask the right question. What woman is going to want you? And you can answer your own question.
Leads back all to confidence.
You got to have confidence, self-love. And if you're unhappy about the way you look, you can lose that weight. If you're unhappy about your money situation, there are some things you can do to make more money. Also, I'm sure you have enough money to, survive and live a normal average life. You can find a decent average woman that's decent looking and is going to accept a guy like you. This is more about how you see yourself, not about how they see you, because women are only going to see you in the way you see yourself. Correct me if I'm wrong, babe. Women are only going to see you in the ways you see yourself.
That is why I never saw a tumor on Chad. That's why it never happened, because he didn't let that affect his self-confidence and his ability to go out there and make connections. Not just booty calls, but connections. And I am going to say eventually my friend Chad.
My Chad,
he got married.
My Chad, my friend Chad, not her Chad specifically, okay?
No, but my dear friend, he did get married to a beautiful woman. And so just a matter of time, he found that lucky lady and they're living a beautiful life in, where I used to live. And I couldn't be happier for him as his friend. Making that very clear. The audience has sometimes mistaken that things that I've said as far as like my past and people I know, and has mistaken how far things have gone with those people. Let's just leave it there. Just explaining why I'm being very adamant about friend.
Yeah.
Because, we all have the trolls out there and they all want to say what they're going to say. They want to say anything that's going to hurt myself, hurt Eli. So basically, you know what I just do? I listen, I ignore. I listen, I ignore. Okay, you got that to say? So what? You don't like what I'm wearing on that podcast? So what? I didn't get dressed for you. I got dressed for me. That's the thing.
Yeah, but baby,
I do my makeup, I do my hair, and I do that for me. Now, I don't need that shit. I don't need to wear makeup every day. But
you look
it
good today,
helps.
baby. You always look good.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
Makeup or not, you look great to me. That's all that matters.
Yes, that is all that matters.
That's all that matters.
But
Who
what
gives a
I'm
shit what
talking
anyone else
about
thinks?
is the self-confidence
Okay.
that builds up a person for them to go out there and be able to approach somebody in any kind of situation, even if you're just like walking around. I've seen people walk around literally with their head down and never make eye contact with people, just walking down the sidewalk,
right?
Or in not even the sidewalk in a neighborhood, but you're walking down to go to a restaurant and people literally will look away and not want to make eye contact with you. I mean, that's the world we're living in now. And if you can't even just make eye contact, like, I don't even know where we're going to go from there. How do you connect without your eyes?
I agree, babe. And here's the thing. The trolls and the haters are the ones that need the most help. Let me repeat that one more time. The trolls and the haters are the ones that need the most help. And here's the thing. We can't help them. We can't help anyone. No one can help these people until they're ready to help themselves. So the more, and I've learned, the more that you respond to trolls, the more that you talk about them. Every now and then you could use it for an example. But I wouldn't waste too much time on them because that's what they're trying to get from you. They need you for their oxygen, or at least they think they need you for their oxygen, right? And until they're ready to snap out of it, they're going to keep doing that. That's where they feel safe and comfortable at. They feel safe and comfortable trolling because they're not ready to address their actual issues yet. They're ashamed, they're embarrassed, and quite frankly, hey, all of us, have issues that we're ashamed of, but we're never going to work through them until we own them, address them, and correct them. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I was just thinking of something in my head.
You always do that.
I know, but I'm trying to now think how to phrase it the right way.
I'll just start talking.
Yeah, start talking. No, you start talking. I'm going to get this right in my head because I don't want it.
So you want me to start talking so you can gather your thought.
Yeah, but remind me what you're talking about right now because
we were talking about the trolls and
okay,
how.
Got it.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so yeah. I will see the trolls. They'll come in to the Walking with Purpose and they do make, jabs at Eli sometimes about YouTube and failure, blah, blah, blah. But when they talk about me, it is super, super personal. They go deep into the families. They go deep into your history and your mistakes. And they really want to make you relive all of that. And they want to make you feel bad. But I'm here to tell you, all of my mistakes are learning processes in my brain. I go through that mistake so I never have to make it again. And if you can just sit back and own your shit, say, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Then you're going to actually advance and be able to go out there connecting with people in a healthy relationship. And I'm not talking just the kind in the bedroom. I'm talking about every relationship. And, it's just, I can't express confidence. And that's what these men are lacking. And especially men who have been cheated on. That is one of the main things. When you're cheated on, or what did you say the other day for the TV? There was a man and a woman married. They got divorced. She's in a new relationship with a woman. And so the expression, remember, is like, oh, you turned her gay. That's not how things go. And it's funny.
But that is what most men would be thinking If that were to happen.
That was my point behind that. Is
They would,
that
and
would
here
kill their
here's the thing.
self-esteem.
Hold on. You're talking about the trolling aspect. So let's say you got you were married to a woman, she divorced you and got together with another woman.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And see, as a man, the thing that we would be worried about, some of us, I wouldn't care, but that's not going to happen to us because we're spending the rest of our life together. But you're going to be worried what the public says. Ooh, look at Eli. His woman divorced him and got with another woman. He turned her woman gay, right?
Yeah.
Right. And see, that's called trolling. And that's exactly what you need to ignore. People are going to talk like that. And if they see that it's getting to you, they're going to keep doing that. If you don't let it get to you and you just say, fuck you, maybe one time to them, or fuck you in your head, you don't even have to respond and just continue moving forward. Eventually, they're going to get tired of saying that when they're getting no reaction, and they're going to move on to something else, right?
Yeah. Literally, when I'm sitting there watching his Walking with Purpose and moderating it, I see exactly what these people are writing.
Yep.
But I just hide them and move on. Do I sit there and cry? Oh, no. No, I don't. So,
yeah.
You know what? And it's not affecting me personally. I mean, everybody in any kind of entertainment world, they are going to get scrutiny.
Right.
But you know what? We've always looked, not we personally, but the world. What do they say? All publicity is good publicity.
Publicity is publicity, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yes.
With that being said, this is just one insecure man from the South, and we're going to leave it at that and just move on. Ready to move on?
Ready to move forward.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. So let's continue here. Purple pillars. This is what I identify as. Equals men who accept most of the red pill observations, but who want to apply that knowledge within the blue pill paradigm. Blue pillars are typically men that are big fucking pussies, sissies, kiss a woman's ass, put a woman up on a pedestal. They're like, men that feel inferior to women, men that feel they have to do everything for a woman in order for the woman to like him, and they don't realize that a woman will like you just for being you. I.e., an example, knowing what they know, but pretending they do not know anything. So the purple pill man is, in my opinion, the perfect hybrid of the blue pill and the red pill. Red pill men, once again, angry, bitter men. They've been through divorce. They've got divorced, raped, lost a lot of money in their divorce. Maybe they were in a relationship and it cost them a lot of money. Maybe the woman cheated on him, whether they're married or in a relationship, living together, even if they're not married. Red pill, we call that the red pill rage. There's another term I forgot to mention, the red pill rage. And I went through the red pill rage because that veterinarian did cheat on me and I was upset about it. But then I got over it. I moved on. I had a pretty good relationship that I screwed up. And it was my fault.
Not from cheating. I'm going to just say that he didn't cheat on her.
Nobody cheated. I didn't cheat. She didn't cheat. And I was just in such a big rage over my ex while I was with this new woman that eventually she just left me. And you know what? Things happen for a purpose. Then I was able to, I dated someone else and then that didn't work out. And then I met Dawn and this was meant to be. So everything happens for a purpose. But I went through the red pill rage, so I know how it feels. I also was not going to be stuck on the red pill rage because I know I've always wanted to have the love of my life. That's all I've ever wanted. And the reason why I was upset is just because she cheated on me, and that's that. And then I found a group of people online that got me sucked into this vortex of negativity that I should have never gone down that path. But that's red pill. Blue pill, like I said, these are very overly nice, overly complimentary men that kiss women's asses, men that put women up on a pedestal, men that have no swag, men that'll spend all their money to try to keep a woman around, all the wrong things. Like, they're not bad men. They just don't realize that you can't buy me love. Ooh, you just have to wait. So you can't buy a woman's love. And even if you could, it wouldn't be real. Men want real, true love, just like women do. So that's blue pill. Purple pill is a hybrid of both. What it means to be a purple pill man is that you still believe in marriage and you still believe in dating, living together with someone, obviously. Don's been living with me for 2.5 years, right? We've been together 3.5 years. But you proceed with the caution and awareness of the red pill. I know the risk of dating, and I'm willing to take that risk because I believe in true love. I believe in happiness. Now, I'm not going to take that risk with just anyone. That's why, I took my time, and when the right woman came along, it just happened. I didn't force it. None of us forced it. It just happened. And here we are. Now, is there a possibility Don could screw me over one day? Anyone can screw you over. But I'd like to not think that. And I'm not going to live every day wondering if one day, Don will be struck by lightning and it'll program her brain to fuck over Eli and take him for everything. Right? You can't live your life worrying about the possibility of bad shit happening. Go ahead, baby. What are your thoughts before we move on?
Oh yeah. You can't get stuck on that because if you're afraid of failure, you're never going to get past that because you're not trying. That's the one thing. And all, like, I always relate back to like sporting and music, my two favorite things. But people are brokenhearted. They tell them no. Some even tell them to find a different career, excuse me. But the one important thing is that these people don't stop trying, and they go out there and they get 100 no's, and then they get one yes. And that's from their determination and trying instead of wallowing in their own self-pity because, it's not coming so fast. Somebody didn't say I was perfect the first time.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying to these guys. You might walk into a bar and be like, oh, she's out of my league. Why? Why is she out of your league? Step your shit up and go get that girl. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't ever walk into anywhere thinking anybody is out of my league because we're all human. We all have issues.
Yeah. Well, let's continue here because that's all we're going to go through on the Purple Pill Debate subreddit there. There was another section I've never heard of, the white pill and Christ followers and all this and that. And that stuff that we can talk about another time. I'll have to do some more research on that because I've never heard of that. But let me see if we can get through one or two more of these articles. Are shorter. We are at 1 hour and 53 minutes. Let's go back over to the other screen here. This is from the subreddit r/ask conservatives. Do you hear that?
Mm-hmm. Say it one more time.
r/ask conservatives. And the title of the original poster is the OP is, what is your opinion of MGTOW men going their own way? And the subheading is sex and marriage. All right. So MGTOW is a movement popularized online. It should be as part of the red pill manosphere. That is true. But taken to a certain degree. The movement tells men that marriage is not worth it. The argument goes that many family courts will side with women, and men will most likely lose half of their financial assets, if not more, in the inevitable divorce and loss of custody. It should be loss of custody of any and all children. I'm trying to fix their grammar here. As such, It is an opting out altogether. Forget marriage and forget being tied down to women and focus on yourself, your hobbies, your pursuits, and bettering yourselves. What do you think about that so far, baby? That's exactly what I've been talking about. These are the MGTOWs are just very angry and bitter people that, honestly, in my opinion, I feel they've wanted all this stuff, but because they went through such a bad divorce, they're like, I'm done. I never want to go through this again. It's just not worth it. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. And I mean, what are your thoughts? It's just ridiculous, in my opinion.
Well, I'll be honest. When I went through my divorce, I said, I'm never going to marry again. I don't want to go through this bullshit. I want to, I have a relationship, I want to just break up and go our own ways. But that changed. That changed with meeting people and realizing that not all marriage is going to be like my first marriage. You know, it goes back to just having faith in yourself and believing in yourself and knowing, even though I'm not married yet, and it's been quite some time since from my divorce, you know, I'm okay with it because I have somebody that loves me. And, you know, he is technically my boyfriend, but I don't look at him like that. You know, I look at him forever. And there are a lot of people out there that they just don't get married. And I don't know if that's coming from the MGTOW, you know, mindset. That's why the man doesn't propose. And so they just decide to live like as together, but separate, you know. I don't know. I don't know what's brought on a lot of this stuff. I understand the anger behind these men. But okay, you're angry about liberation and everything like that. Why are you going after us 50 years later? Like, it's been moving all this time. Why are you still pitching a fit? Like, just face it. We are your equal. Like, God honestly didn't make you guys any better than he made women. In fact, I could go on for days how much better women are. Just start with giving life. Start there.
Yeah, you know, baby, I think the answer to the question, in my opinion, is I think it's a lot easier for people to conglomerate with other people going through something similar and to, talk about these issues and get their anger out, than actually get together with people like us that can help you solve the issue and overcome the underlying issue. I think a lot of people take the easy way out and they find these groups on YouTube, these what do you call it? These outlets. They call them an outlet. There's an outlet for everyone on YouTube. There's an outlet for everyone on Reddit. So these people create outlets on the internet regarding, similar things that somebody may be going through. When you join that outlet, you join in more of the rage and shit talking, right, than trying to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the only way you can solve the problem is by, first of all, removing yourself from these outlets that are very toxic, not only to you, but everyone in the group. It's very toxic. And then joining a more positive, uplifting group that's going to help you overcome the issue and is going to hold you by the hand every step of the way. What are your thoughts before we move on?
No, I think what you said was perfect. So I don't think there's anything else I can say to that.
Okay, well, let's continue then. Critics of MGTOW state that it is a loser mentality, that being in a long-term romantic relationship forces men to level up and improve themselves. Well, men should be, leveling up and improving themselves on their own. without having to be forced into it just to get a woman.
Turn 18, you start leveling up right there.
Why would you want to sell yourself short for any reason, let alone, just to try to get a woman? I mean, or for a woman. And here's the thing. The loser mentality is that these men, whether it involves women or not, have given up on themselves. They lack self-love. They lack self-respect. They lack they lack security. They're very insecure, right? They have no belief in themselves. That's the problem. So whether it's MGTOW or not, MGTOW may be the excuse. MGTOW may be the label to put this all under for the situation, but they have the loser mentality regardless of the label, regardless of whether it is involving women or not. Women are just a byproduct of something that you may want in your life or should want in your life, in my opinion. And as a man, as you get older, you get into your 20s, you start to build your empire. You start to work better jobs. You start to save more money. Maybe you buy a house or get a nice apartment or something, right? And you start to level up and improve yourselves. And then at that point, just by doing things that you should already be doing for yourself, if you want a good woman, a woman's going to be naturally attracted to a man that's just already taking care of himself before the woman comes into the picture. Why do these men feel that, well, in order to get a woman nowadays, I have to level up and improve myself? Well, why wouldn't you want to do that just for yourself, regardless of women? Does that make sense, baby?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Go ahead.
Question: are most MGTOW men, are they older in generations or is it pretty equal with all generations now as far as the members?
Well, the ones that have been screwed over are the older generation. I would probably say men in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. But here's the problem. Those older men are trying to convince the younger men that this isn't worth it.
They're recruiting them.
What's that?
They're recruiting them.
Well, you can call it recruiting, or they're indoctrinating them into this culture. They're brainwashing these men using the internet and saying, this is what I went through, and this is what will happen to you if you allow a woman into your life, you fall in love with her, or especially if you get married. This is what will happen to you. And the truth of the matter is that's huge misinformation because every man is different. Every relationship is different, right? And I've been a part of this community. I haven't been directly a part of it for probably 5-6 years, but I've just known about it and used to be a part of it. And I've known about it for over 7 years. And I've dealt with these people. And the bottom line is these guys are angry and bitter. And in essence, when they're trying to tell the younger men to not do it, they're trying to take away the most amazing aspect of life, to meet somebody, fall in love, possibly procreate and have a family and have the American dream, or that whatever country you're in, have that be the dream. But here we call that the American dream. In essence, these guys here in the U.S., where I live, where Don and I live, are trying to tell these guys that the American dream isn't worth it. It's not worth it, right? It's not right what they're doing. They're taking out their own anger on the younger men. And these men think they're trying to protect the younger men. No, they're screwing you over. Listen, you guys have to be careful. Both men and women have to be careful with who they give a chance to in the dating world nowadays. But if both a man and a woman are looking for true love, and you take your time and you're able to, properly vet people to not waste your time and focus on the ones that are worth your time, you're going to find that person eventually. So I just think, these guys are just angry and bitter. They're older, and they're the ones that are trying to convince the younger, the Gen Zers, the millennial generation. And the millennial generation now is old enough to to basically relay the message to the Gen Zers and now the Alpha generation, which I believe are 12 and younger. The up and coming generation is going to start seeing this, and it's like, oh shit, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically, I don't even think some of the boomers might be involved, but it's more so the Gen X. There are a lot of angry and bitter Gen X men, and there are a lot of angry and bitter millennial men. And the Gen Xers and the millennial men that are on the younger end of the millennial generation, they're being indoctrinated into this by the older millennials and the Gen Xers. So does that make sense to you, baby?
Yeah, it does. I wanted to bring up, though, that really nice 22-year-old that we met while we were running errands, and how nice he was. And you were telling him about finding the right woman and how you'd found, like, after time, all this stuff. And you literally said, you got to vet them out. You got to take your time if that's what you want to do. And I looked at the guy, I said, and you know what? You're 22. You have plenty of time to find the right woman, He was, we went to the ganja store, the ganja, cannabis the dispensary.
Store. What's that?
We went to the dispensary.
We went to the one outside of our area because the one in our area was out of stock of what we normally get. And he was a young, good-looking African-American man, really cool guy. And I was, we were just having a conversation, like Don said, and it was just a great experience. But as I was walking out there, I told Don, I said, you know what? It's like, I get along better with African-American men as friends than Caucasian men as friends. And I'm Caucasian. I'm not saying that. I'm not racist or anything. Like even the white guys will say, oh, Eli's racist against his own ethnicity. Well, if that's what you think, then fuck, that's your opinion. You can think whatever you want. I'll just tell you this. My experiences in being friends with African-American men of any age, whether it's on YouTube or off of YouTube, or having experiences with them, going into like retail stores or whatever, like they are the nicest guys in the world. Now, of course, you're going to have bad people in all ethnicities, but what I've noticed is like a lot of the problems that stem a lot of the problems regarding this stem from angry and bitter, old-fashioned, old-school, traditional conservative men, primarily from the Midwest and the South here in the U.S. and wherever the conservatives are in other countries. I'm sure they have their areas like we have here. That's where the problem stems from, because they cannot move past the TradCon traditional conservative days. They cannot accept the fact that women have risen up, that progression is here. We live in a progressive world, and we're going to keep progressing. And the longer that they take to understand that and work through that, the less they're going to enjoy their life for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. They're just going to be miserable fucking people until they die.
Yeah.
They're going to be miserable as fuck, and then one day they're going to die.
One day that's
it.
They won't wake up.
Right. You're gonna die in misery,
like alone with a lot of cats.
All alone. Right.
With a lot of cats.
So let's go ahead and continue here. We're almost done. Other states, it's not compatible with religions such as Christianity. What is your opinion of MGTOW? Do you personally subscribe to it? I'm done with MGTOW. Like, I'll talk about it to try to help men not get suckered into it or get the wrong idea. There are a lot of good values you can learn from MGTOW. You can learn to become a better, stronger man and focus on yourself. But MGTOW was not created to bash women. MGTOW, now listen, are there women that deserve to be bashed? Yes, but there are many men that deserve to be bashed too. People in general, some deserve to be bashed and some don't.
Honestly, nobody deserves it.
Well, some do based on the way they behave, but
based on the way they behave. But we are here to be kind and good to people. That is what our motto is here at the GNA.
What's that?
Round 3's coming up.
Oh, are you good for a little bit more?
How long?
Another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. We got just a couple more quick things to go over here. From the subreddit r ask feminists. Is there a difference between MGTOW and men who simply wish to remain single? If there is one, what is it? I honestly think there is a huge difference between MGTOW and men who simply wish to remain single. If you as a man want to be single for a while or want to be single forever and not have any influence over this stupid shit, that's on you. If you're going to allow other people to influence you to not be a part of something such as have a good woman in your life because of what they're saying, then you're being brainwashed, in my opinion. What are your thoughts, baby?
What are my thoughts? I agree with you. I don't think I have much to add to that. You covered that pretty well, I think.
You know what? I'm going to let you go use the restroom real quick.
So I can concentrate.
So you can concentrate a little bit more. Hold on a second, baby. Let me turn this off here. Hold on a second here. All right. So Dawn's going to use the restroom one more time. And while we're doing that, let me remind you folks once again, if you are watching this podcast throughout the audio version of the podcast, whether it be Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, or my lady's favorite, iHeartRadio, or one of the many various other podcasting providers that are not as known. If you're watching this audio only and you would like to check out the video version as well, there's a link to the video of this week's show in the description. That will also link you to our YouTube channel, GNA Genuine Personal Development. So yeah, you may want to go over to YouTube and, you can actually, watch my lady and I on video. You can also, when we do, commentary on Reddit postings or other articles, we show it on the screen. It's in 1080p, 60 frames per second HD. You can watch it on your smart TV in crystal clear quality, audio and video. So go below the description, and when you go to the link, make sure you also subscribe and bang the bell and select all notifications. We're not on video until Dawn gets back. We're just audio only right now, even on the video portion. Also, when you get there, you can subscribe to our secondary live streaming channel. That's GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development. That's where the live streams are at. I do some Walking with Purpose streams almost every day live where I engage our audience. You can ask me any questions. A lot of times I choose a topic, but regardless of the topic, you can ask any questions that you like. You can find that link to GNA2, Genuine Life Personal Development, once you get over to the YouTube video version of this podcast, and then you can subscribe, bang the bell, and select the notifications there as well. And episode number 1000 of the Walking with Purpose stream is coming soon, so you're not going to want to miss that.
I'm back.
Okay, so she is back. Let's turn on the camera on the YouTube side of things. All right, so in your opinion, is there a difference between MGTOW and men who simply want to remain single, baby? Now, can you answer that?
Yes.
That you cleared up your bladder for the third time during this show.
I apologize.
It's okay. I love you.
Yeah, I do think that there is a difference. Absolutely. I think there's a very fine line in the red pill where you do have those older generations that are very set in their ways. And then you have some red pillars that they're not 100% against women, but they're maybe making their way away from being consumed with needing a woman in their life, giving themselves time to maybe Work on that confidence. Work on that swag. You know, why don't you take a few pages out of Nick Cannon's book? He has no problem getting women.
Nick Cannon has a lot of kids. He must be using that cannon.
Yeah,
he must have used that cannon quite often.
Oh, yeah. I think at least 9 times.
Wow. To have a name like Nick Cannon.
Growing up like that.
Be a good-looking, tall African-American man with the stigma of the BBC, right? I know.
I hate that term.
I know. That is just a joke. Anyway. All right. So let me read one
more.
Well, I'm going to read one of the comments here. Then we're going to go to one more subreddit real quick.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going to wrap it up. About 15 more minutes. We're going to be done. 15 minutes or less.
And I'll make it 15 without having to pee. I promise you.
Okay. So here's a comment by Psionic Overlord. Yeah, men who simply want to remain single don't form communities and go around yelling about how much they want to stay single. You know what, baby? I got to give that a big round of applause.
High five, baby. High five. Don't leave me hanging on camera. There we go.
That is the best comment.
Right.
I had to highlight that, baby, because
that's on point.
That is so on point. It's like, all you motherfuckers, you want attention. Like, see, for women, it is normal to seek attention. Even though my lady doesn't like when I say this. For women to seek validation, it's normal. For men to seek validation, it's not only abnormal, it's unattractive to women.
Yeah.
You don't seek validation as a man. It is not considered masculine energy. When I turned 30, I decided to remain single for a while. Back to reading the comment. Ended up doing it for 3 years when I realized how much I needed it. I'm pretty sure I went my own way more than any so-called MGTOW person ever has. But where are you at now? Maybe you found a woman. Maybe you're still, working on yourself. But here's the thing. If you want to go your own way, if you want to do your own thing and don't want to date women for the time being or forever, that's on you. But you don't need to go and seek validation from other people regarding the situation. These people are so insecure that come out on the internet and seek the validation of this, that this becomes their purpose becomes going out seeking these very toxic groups on Reddit or YouTube. They're seeking an outlet. They find the toxic groups, and then they further sink into depression over something that supposedly they're trying to get out of. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
No, that's right. I was just going to comment on, some of these younger men that have been hurt in a relationship and are like on the line of solid MGTOW red pill. My advice is, everybody goes through heartbreak. I'm sorry. I don't know anybody who hasn't had any heartbreak. So what you got to do is you got to bounce back, but give yourself time. Don't just jump in bed with somebody else. That's what we call a rebound. Rebounds never stick. So, the best thing, give yourself some time, love yourself from whatever's been brought down from that last relationship.
Yeah.
Realize you are worth it. You are worth somebody's love. And whatever that other person did, they're not worth your love. So, so you take that time, you find yourself, and then I guarantee you will find your special person.
Babe, and this has never been for me, but I wouldn't say there's even a problem, if you just got out of a relationship and maybe you come across another woman in the same situation, as long as you both know that, hey, you're going to hook up temporarily, maybe it's a short-term relationship. I've had friends that have, been with women like that where they go on 3 or 4 or 5 dates. They even take, getaways together once or twice, and then it ends and it served its purpose. I don't necessarily see something wrong with that. That's not something that I would be personally seeking. But sometimes it takes a relationship like that to for a man and a woman in that same situation to work past their exes. So whatever works for you to get through it is not a problem, but you got to be honest with the other side, and they need to be honest with you. You
have to be honest with yourself. That's the most
You got to be honest
thing.
with yourself. You got to be honest with them.
Got to accept responsibility for your part in what happened in that relationship, because a relationship is never one-sided. So you have to reflect back on what you may have done to contribute to the demise of the relationship.
Right.
And just because it wasn't your idea to end it, it was hers, doesn't make it mean that either one of you won or didn't win in the situation.
Right.
It
right.
just, that's my point right there.
All right. A few more here. Let's see.
This dog is making me itchy laying here.
Andrew Tillman says, it feels like the motivation of MGTOWs is not to go their own way, but to yell about how women will be sorry that they do. These guys think that if they're going to yell at women on the internet, that's going to basically make them feel better and turn their life around and be loved by all people, including women and other people in general, right? Baby, do you hear how stupid? I mean, the person that wrote this is not stupid, but they're basically saying like they're wasting their time stuck on stupid. You have nothing.
I have nothing. I don't. Sometimes I can't even come up with a response to such an ignorant statement.
May I help you? Because let me read the first part of this last comment here, and that may give you a better response. Lipstick Bendito says, exactly. People actually going their own way don't need to constantly advertise it. And their main focus certainly isn't about how it will teach the other gender a lesson and make them sorry. MGTOW is so in your face about it. It is clearly not for them. It is to try to send a message to women. They're trying to play hard to get, and they ultimately don't want to be single, though that much is obvious. It is really transparent and pathetic. Men who actually want to be single and are doing it for themselves and aren't constantly focused on making sure women know about it. They're just doing their own thing and decentering relationships. Nothing wrong at all with that. Can be really healthy, actually. Yeah, at times. Sure. Yeah. I mean, what they're saying here basically is that these guys are coming out here and they're whining like a little bitch. These guys are whining like a little female dog, and they're behaving. Listen, women have their moments, men have their moments, but I'll tell you this, they're behaving worse than women behave when women are being bitchy. That's how bad these guys are coming off. It's so fucking pathetic. And that's what triggers these people to troll and stuff is they know we're right about how pathetic they are. Go ahead.
I was going to mention just with MGTOW here, I don't care what you are following, what you're believing in. But my big thing, this goes for everything across the board. Don't shove it down my throat. If you believe in it, that's great. But you don't have to sit out there with a sign in front of my house being like, I don't like women anymore. Okay, so go have fun with your right hand then. Bye. And in today's world, guys, we don't need you for the security that we needed you for back then.
That's true.
We have our own 401ks. We have our own retirements. And we live on the money that we make without having a man. So, I mean, California is kind of the exception, but across the world is what I'm trying to say. And there are other places, New York, very expensive places, London.
You nailed it. What you're saying is that a lot of these men, the only way they feel they can keep a woman around is by going back to the days of traditionalism where women didn't have equal rights and women were dependent on a man for survival financially and otherwise. So these guys are saying, well, now, women can leave at any time. Well, yes. And they could have left you back in those days too, but then they probably wouldn't have been able to survive. How good does that make you feel as a man that a woman is only staying around with you or would only stay around with you because she has no other place to go? That's not real. I thought you guys wanted something real. So the problem is, you were saying this in other words. These guys don't like the fact that women are liberated, making their own money and having their own money, contributing half to the marriage or the relationship financially, even financially, to the point where they can get up and walk away anytime. They don't like the fact that a woman can do that. But if you both are contributing equally and you both are supporting each other and being good to each other, right? That's not going to happen, right? That's not going to happen. And if you do everything right and a woman does that to you, then you just got really, really unlucky. And you need to say, hey, shit happens, and work through it, and then put yourself back out there and find someone else that's going to be better. That's the bottom line. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I agree with you, but
you need to talk to
I'm so sorry. I want to ask, on the flip side, do we as women, or me as a woman, do women have groups like this that would be like MGTOW or something?
Oh, I'm going to show you one before we go off the air. There's a group here. Why don't we get to that right now? Let me show you, because this final article, there are 3 others, but we'll do those another time, because we're already at 2 hours and 26 minutes. It's going to be 2.5 hours. So let's go over to the other screen again. This is from the subreddit r/2x chromosomes. This is a woman's group. A subreddit for both serious and silly content and intended for women's perspectives. The topic or the title of this original posting is, "Can MGTOW please just go their own way already?" And then this lady says, "I'm tired of seeing them and their bullshit about women everywhere. They take every which is subreddit, that's not explicitly for women and make it a toxic cesspool. I don't care if they feel devalued by society. Sadness doesn't excuse hate and violence." First of all, the only person that can devalue you is yourself. So they're devaluing themselves and basically blaming everyone but themselves, which is necessary to correct the issue. You got to own up to whatever the issue is and blame yourself. But this is a woman's group here, and they're basically saying, "Can MGTOW please just go their own way? Go your own way. If you want to go your own way, go your own way. You don't have to sit here.
Go.
Yeah, you don't have to sit here and infiltrate all these forums where men or other women, or men or women, are trying to have reasonable discussions." Go ahead, babe.
Oh, I know. That's how I feel just even on our show. It's like, why throw away the crap that you have to say and let's talk reasonably. Don't shit talk. Just, if you have a reasonable question or a reasonable statement, that's what we're all about. And that's what that was saying. It's like, you guys are all out there preaching that you're going to go your own way and fuck women. Well, then fucking go your own way and stop bitching about it, is what we're saying. And I just also want to point out, the women that you guys are dealing with in the modern world are not the same feminists from the 60s that are burning bras. It's a different kind of feminism now. It's a more build up of success and achievements. Seeing a woman go to a 4-year university, first woman in her family.
These women have proven themselves to the point of where now these men are feeling more inferior than they felt about themselves, which is the problem that they're facing when they're trying to get with these women. And these women see themselves as superior and are not attracted to these men because they actually are superior to these men. That's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah, no, it is.
It is.
It's an unfortunate situation, but it's the absolute truth.
It is.
I mean, I really am not going to be attracted to somebody who
is a big fucking pussy.
Appears to be weak and doesn't even have a voice or a backbone. I'm not asking you to pick a fight because somebody knocked into me somewhere. I'm not asking for that tough guy. I'm asking for just more of a sensitive, you know what I'm kind of talking about, babe.
Am I sensitive, baby?
Basically you.
Am I sensitive?
Yeah, you're.
But I can also be an asshole at times. And then I deserve to hear it from you. And in the same
way, I could be a bitch, and you need to tell me.
And then you hear it from me, but we talk it out.
But then you know what we also do? Like, we stop talking about it and we think about what the other person said. And that way we can reflect on our own behavior.
Right.
And what they're seeing. Because you know what? A lot of times the way we're acting is not the way people are seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big problem in today's world with these stupid fucking phones.
Mm-hmm.
You're texting. Okay, yeah, you could put a smiley emoji, but who knows if you're being sarcastic? You know? You never know what the tone is of a text or an email. So I got off.
No. You nailed it. There's a couple more here. Let's get through this real quick here. Sweet Perdition says, funniest shit in the world. When you truly go your own way, you don't care to tell people about it. It is a tantrum for lack of attention, rarely anything more.
Yes. Queen who said that.
Big round of applause.
She's a queen.
I mean, that's all it boils down to. Men seeking validation and attention, which are not masculine traits or characteristics. And that's what further turns these women off.
Yep.
God, these guys don't get it. Furthermore, parallax, whatever. I can't pronounce that name. Hello, guys. I said I'm leaving. Now, here I go. Don't try to stop me. Guys, hey, guys. She's making fun of these guys that are, coming out here and vomiting all their shit on the internet. Hello, guys. I said I'm leaving now. Here I go. Don't try to stop me. Guys, hey, guys. And then one more, baby. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Lacinel says, I have a friend, IRL, in real life, that's like that. We get into an argument and he leaves, only to later ask mutuals if I feel bad about it. Well, the guy probably wants to bang you, but you don't want to bang him because you're not attracted to his lack of masculinity, so you friend zone him. When they tell him no, I actually found it funny. He ends up crawling back, which is such a... I'm sorry.
Move.
That's such a bitch move. That's such a pussy move. Like, seriously, this woman owns you, dude. This woman owns you and will always own you until you stand up for yourself and have a fucking spine. Babe, this is the final part. Oh, high five. I didn't even ask for one. I get a free high five from my baby anytime.
Spineless men. Spineless.
Huh?
Spineless men.
Spineless men? What else?
Oh, that's what they are. I'm just stating my observation and my opinion.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And baby, we're going to do final thoughts. Before we do final thoughts, anything else you want to mention about?
Well, I just want to...
Are we doing final thoughts, or are you doing a thought before the final thought?
Well, I'm doing a thought before the final thought.
Amen. Go right ahead.
I just kind of want to also, like I was asking him about if there are female groups that are just like this. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that there are. There are men-hating groups as well.
Oh, yeah.
Does it make it right? No. But you know what? Like, I see it equally on both sides. So I don't know why men make such a big deal about it. Because you know what? Honestly, I had to ask him if the women had a group because they are not freaking putting it out there and shouting crap out of their mouth. You know? Like, honestly, in 50 years, I never heard of anything like MGTOW on the feminine side,
Baby,
right?
These women are desperately seeking real masculine men nowadays. And when we say masculine men, we're not talking about arrogant, pompous ass type of men that go and flex their muscles and this and that. We're talking about cool, down-to-earth, confident guys that are not conceited, that are not arrogant, pompous asses. They're laid back. They're chill. They just want to get to know women, and whatever happens, happens. And they're not here's the biggest advice I can give you guys. When it comes to women, you cannot be attached to any particular outcome. You got to just let it ride, and whatever will be, will be. And it has to be the woman's when it's the woman's decision, it's so much better for the relationship to move forward. It has to be the woman's decision to want to be in a relationship with you. And until that point, you just keep going on dates. You're cool. You're down to earth. You're easygoing, and that's that. But a lot of women nowadays are struggling to find decent men. And I'll tell you this: when I was single, before I met you, I would get some nice comments, even from women I didn't end up meeting, because you can only meet so many. And when you find one that works, you stop talking to the others. But they would say, wow, it's refreshing to actually hear someone express themselves and share what they actually want and what they're looking for and not looking for. And it's like, I can only imagine the guys that approach these women and how just dead they are inside.
Well, they're just repeating, oh yeah, I like long walks on the beach, romantic dinners. That's what's in their profile. They don't get like you. You're like this. You want to know who Eli is? This is who Eli is.
Well, I also like the romantic walks on the beach, and I put that in there. But in addition, I put, hey, this is who I am. I'm looking for something real. I'm not looking to waste time.
I'm just saying that as like, when people will put their likes and dislikes, they will just be like, oh, I like walking on the beach. Well, okay, you're just saying, phony, stupid shit from movies,
Yes.
It's like, that's not what you put on your profile. They want to know who you are, right?
Right. But when I say I'm not looking to waste time, I'm looking for something real. That doesn't mean I'm looking to rush something. What it means is I'm only interested in talking to women that are relationship minded if it's meant to go that route. Because there are some women that just want to bang, like some men just want to bang. And I don't want to waste my time with those women. So I put out there exactly what I'm seeking and what I'm not seeking. You can't be afraid to do that. And honestly, online dating is the best place for that because you're not going to go to your church or a bar or somewhere and come across a woman. And first of all, you're not going to know if she's single or not, whether there's a ring on her or not, because she might be in a relationship and not married, right? And even if she's single, you're not going to say, here's what I'm not looking for or looking for. When you go online and create a profile and a woman creates a profile as well, okay, you're both saying that you're in the dating market and you're looking. And here's what you're looking for and not looking for. That's why I think online dating is one of the best ways to meet people, even though people think it's not. It is one of the best ways. And as long as you know how to, handle the online dating world and not let it handle you, and you know how to properly vet people, you'll eventually find the right person. And we could do some other shows on that down the road. But anything else you want to mention on this before we do final thoughts?
No. I'm ready for final.
All right, baby. Final thoughts. Final thoughts, baby.
All righty. Final thoughts. All right. Very good show. I was educated so much on all of that pill stuff y'all got going on over there. I understand it. I am not like, I'm sure y'all saw at the beginning. I was just like, yeah, it's stupid, fucking whatever. But as I listen more, I can understand where these men are coming from. I can see how in time they can feel emasculated by the progress of women. Mm-hmm. So I will say I understand, but I won't say that it's right. It's not. It's best for you to move on for your own self-love and worth. If something doesn't work out for you, that doesn't mean you have to hate everybody in that gender. I've had a couple guys that have done me dirty. Doesn't mean I hate men. Because you know what? I grew up with a father and two brothers that are strong men that supply and protect and love their families. That's what I'm used to in a man. So if I'm looking, that's what I'm looking for, you know, because that's what feels safe to me.
Yep.
You know, and so just learning a lot about the different relationships and styles, the moving on, the not moving at all of that super, super interesting, babe. I really learned a lot. Do have a different mindset. So I like that. And that's what we're here for is to like bring out all of the facts and then make a decision.
And get the male and female perspective.
Yeah.
In our own relationship here of 3.5 years. We can still talk about this stuff because we have a lot of experiences even before our relationship.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, that's my final thought for today. And I hope everybody has gotten something from this. I hope that we've reached out to some men out there that they can maybe put down their guard and you know, just stand tall and love yourself. I mean, we always talk about women having low self-esteem, but you know, we forget about men. And we can't forget about men, because then what are we going to lose? Strength and stability in our men. I think that's enough said, and I'm going to hand it over to my wonderful, handsome co-host here. And what are your final thoughts, Mr. Eli?
My final thoughts, wow. 2 hours and 41 minutes right now. This is going to be about 2 hours and 45 minutes by the time we're done, maybe almost 2 hours and 50 minutes. The longest podcast we've done so far. Not the longest piece of content you and I have done. You know, when we got the GNA2 Genuine Live Personal Development channel monetized, it used to be called Coach Eli 2 Authentic Live Streams. You and I would stream all the time, and some of the streams we did were 3-4 hours long. And woo-wee! But this is a long one, and it's long because
there's lots of information.
It needed to be long, and there's so much more to talk about. And here's the bottom line at the end of the day. Okay, there are good and bad men, and there are good and bad women. There are good and bad people everywhere, right? You have to ask yourself, do you believe in true love, and do you want that for yourself? Do you want to have a family? Or are you okay without a family? Do you want to be with someone whether, you know, you want a family or not? You also have to go out there and understand that you may want a family, and other women that you meet that you're dating that want to be with you don't want to have a family. There are a lot of women that just want to focus on their career. So, you know, you can't sit there and blame women in general, or on the flip side, women blame men in general, because women do it too on the flip side. It's just not as apparent because there's far less of it.
Publicized.
There's a lot more men blaming women for everything than women blaming men for everything. There are women blaming men for everything, but there are fewer, right? And that's because women have all the options nowadays. Why? Because guys like you are giving them the options with your behavior and your lack of masculinity, right? So, and as a matter of fact, these guys have not only made the dating market harder for themselves, behaving the way they are and lacking masculinity and all that, they made it harder for guys like me. Fortunately, I found you. It's gotten harder for all of us because there are, you know, women are in a better place, and you know, there are more, you know, single men in this world, and women can pick and choose. And on these dating apps, women get probably, I'd say, 10 messages for every one a decent man gets. And if you're a man that's not as decent, you women may get 50 or 100 messages for every one or two that you get. Okay. If you want to turn that around, guys, you have to start working on yourself. You have to start focusing on yourself and doing all the things to better yourself and to level up and to become more financially stable, to get into better shape, to wear better clothes, right? And you do that for yourself before you even put yourself on the dating market. And don't sit there and say, oh, I got to do this now because this is what women want. This is what you should want for yourself, guys. This is what you're not getting, and we can help you with that. You can join our community here. Again, if you're throughout the podcasting network, I'm going to share with you folks here in a second how you can connect with us and, participate on the almost daily live Walking with Purpose streams I do on our GNA2 Genuine Life Personal Development channel. So with that being said, baby, it is time to start wrapping things up. All right, you've been listening to the Dawn and Eli Take on the World podcast. My name is Elias Melas, also known as Eli, and
I'm Dawn Ledgerwood.
Dawn Ledgerwood. Now, before we head on out of here, let's remind you once again that if you are listening to us on the audio-only version on one of the many podcast sites such as Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, or Dawn's favorite, once again, iHeartRadio. Okay, and you would like to watch the video version of this podcast on YouTube, that link is shared below the description of the current podcast that we're doing. And if you go to the previous podcast, we have the link to that video as well. When you click on that link, it'll also take you to our YouTube channel, GNA, Genuine Personal Development, where the video version of the podcast is at. Make sure you subscribe there. You bang the bell and select the notifications. Also, if you want to speak with me regularly, and my girlfriend's typically moderating the chat, if you want to participate and ask questions while I'm live on the air almost every day, you go below the description of that YouTube link for the podcast, and you'll see the link to GNA2, Genuine Life Personal Development. Go over there, subscribe, bang the bell, select the notifications, and start participating on the live streams, and we'll answer your questions in real time. With that being said, time to go, baby.
Alrighty.
Time to go. Have a good one, everyone. Take care. And as always, what, baby?
Be good to each other.
Be good to each other.